Hello and welcome to 15 Minute Gamer. My name is Tony and this is my review for Wolfenstein 2, the new Colossus. But before we start, let's always have a look at the Steam description. America 1961, the assassination of Nazi General Deathshead was a short-lived victory as the Nazis maintained their stranglehold on the world. You were BJ Blazkowicz, aka Terror Billy, member of the Resistance, scourge of the Nazi Empire, and humanity's last hope for liberty. So guys, Wolfenstein 2, which is the 11th game in the series, it started all the way back in 1981. I can remember Wolfenstein 3D, Return to Castle Wolfenstein was a great game as I remember too. There's been some good games out there. It's a first person shooter where basically you have to kill a lot of Nazis, as I'm sure you kind of took in from the description there. You're given a variety of weapons to do it as well, so yes, there's a lot of killing of, so if you're against killing of Nazis, maybe don't pick this game up because it's not for you, because that's what you do throughout the whole game. So yes, I done a bit of a impressions video a few hours in, and you can catch that on my channel. I'll put a link in the description. And I was about 3 or 4 hours in, and then I got round to completing it a couple of days ago. The game length is advertised at around about 12 hours. I didn't take that long, but by the end I was getting a little bit bored, and I was just running through the levels, like literally just running, doing the minimum amount of gun and shooting, and just pushing people over, shooting in the face, and moving on. And that's how I kind of played it. I would say about 8 hours. And in fact, if you took all the padding and filling out this game, the game itself is about 5 hours long. And I mean, if you did the main, there is assassination missions, but I count them in the padding side of the game. So where this game let itself down for me a little bit, when we're talking about padding, is there's just so much in this game that's there just to give a better runtime. Like, the developers were also told, right, okay, this game needs to be about 12 hours long. But instead of putting 12 hours of gameplay in, every single cutscene is drawn out. They've put little rubbish missions in that, like, there's one later on in the game, go and find someone's arm after a drunken party. I mean, it was kind of like, okay, but the arm, like, I go around speaking to people who would then go, oh, the arm's here, and then you found the arm, and that was it. Like, really? We've moved past this pace now. Like, I know you had to make the game a certain length. Could you not come up with something a little bit better than finding someone's arm? So unfortunately what happened with the cutscenes is, because I found them so utterly dull, I ended up just sort of skipping them a little bit, and that unfortunately left a little bit of holes in the story for me at times, because I was a bit like, why am I here? And you know, I kind of looked back and read to see why I was there, just because it was so dull. The cutscenes are so dull, guys. It's one of the worst cutscenes I've seen in the game. Not saying they're not well done, to say the graphics aren't good on them, and there's some humor in some of them are actually quite funny, or quite surreal. There's one which you'll see a bit later on in this video where it involves Hitler, and you're auditioning for Hitler, and it's just such a weird scene. But it is also immense padding, because I was expecting at that point then to pull a gun and shoot Hitler or something, but that didn't happen. But yeah, never mind. So yeah, for me, there's a lot of padding. I didn't do any of the assassination missions. It didn't interest me at all. They give you upgrades and weapon skills and stuff, which if you're on some of the harder difficulties, you may need to do just to get through to the end of the game. And when I'm talking about difficulty, this game is tough. For the first half of the game, for some unknown reason, it gives you 50 health. Like, what game gives you 50 health? Like, I understand if you're 100 health and then you kind of go to 150, 200, but you start with 50. And when I died in this game, I never kind of felt like it was me that was at fault for dying. It wasn't my tactics that were bad. It wasn't that I was particularly playing the game badly. It was more like the game's designed, when it gets harder, to kill you easily. Like, there'll be less ammo, or less health, or less armor about. And some parts I really just got stuck in because I'd entered the place with not enough health and there was just nothing I could kind of do. And I know some people go, oh, well, you know, games these days are hand-holdy and stuff like that. And I kind of agree. I think a lot of games now do hand-hold you. But it kind of seemed more on the unfair side of things. You won't understand unless you get it, but I'm not the first person I've talked to who said the game is just too hard in an unfair way. It's just really hard to describe. It doesn't seem fair when you die. Like, sometimes there's your mistake. Sometimes, you know, like, okay, you ran around that corner a little bit stupid. And I also found there's very little feedback for you when you're low on health. Like, there was several times where there was just one shot and I was dead and I was like, I didn't even realize I was on low health. Like, it needs more feedback to when you're close to dying or when you get hit. I found that a little bit off-putting. There was just not enough feedback for me. So I started the game on hard. I then instantly dropped it down to medium. And then I also then just dropped it down to easy because I don't have a lot of time to play games and I was getting bored of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. It got repetitive. It got a bit dull. So I was just like, I'll drop it down to easy. Once I dropped it down to easy, I had a lot more fun on the game. I enjoyed it a lot more. I was just able to go around and do what the game's designed for, which is just blast the Nazis. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, this is quite easy. And when it was on easy mode, I did enjoy it more, as I just said. And I found it just a better game and experience all around. When it was hard, I was kind of starting to lose interest, and I was actually thinking about quitting it at one point because I was just not enjoying it. It just was not enjoyable. I wasn't finding the effort I was putting in to get past that certain bit was rewarding, or I felt the need to. If you know what I mean. I play a lot of games and it did have that feel. As you can see, the graphics on it are pretty good. This section here actually is the first time in the game in a while it actually made me jump. The crocodile made me jump out of my skin when I was playing that. I was not expecting it. But yeah, the graphics are on the whole very good, you know, very this generation. They look impressive. It's some of the lighting effects look good. Some of the you know, when you're shooting the enemies look good. The bullets spray in places. The fire effects look good. The only thing that doesn't look good is the water effects. The water effects look terrible. I think some of the worst I've seen on a game with this sort of budget in a long time. You know, when you get up close with the Nazis and stab them, it looks really good. And yeah, so the cutscenes also very, very nice looking as well. So overall, on graphics side of things, it's actually a major accomplishment. It actually looks very, very good. Sound-wise, the guns have a nice, hefty sound to them. When you're shooting, you kind of feel like you're in an action movie, like, you know, like clenching your teeth as you shoot through Nazis. The actual sound of the weapons and the voice acting is really good as well. There's not as much Nazi voice acting now as I was like. There's not many times outside of cutscenes where I heard anything funny or overheard anything, or kind of, apart from the same repetitive phrases of, oh, he's found him, he's over there, and stuff like that. It was, yeah, they could have done for a few more Nazi voices, I think. But apart from that, it was very well voice acted, and, you know, I quite enjoyed the voice acting in it when the cutscenes went stupidly long. Good God, so long. If you took the cutscenes out of this game, I really think in a 12-hour campaign you'd be looking at about 2 or 3 hours of cutscenes. And the cutscenes have this really annoying disconnect when you go at the end of the level and press square. It doesn't jump the cutscene. It's like a very short pause, and it's really disconnecting. And yeah, the sound and graphics I can't really fault. So when we're moving on to gameplay and gunplay, the gameplay itself, generally you'll go on a mission. You'll have to work your way through it. There'll be a little somewhat objective in it, and there'll be usually 2 commanders to kill in each section. The commanders raise the alarm. If you can get them via stealth, you can then not trigger the alarm and have more enemies. However, because the enemies, you want to kill more of them, I just go in and set the alarm off every time. I was quite happy. Set the alarm off, go and get the commanders and kill them. The commanders drop Enigma codes, which then you go into the Enigma machine, which then you can go and decode, and then you can kind of decode them, and then they lead you to the assassination missions. So, you can kind of use it for them. And when you complete the game, what was nice of it, it didn't just end. It said, right, do you want to do these assassination missions? So I thought that was a nice little touch, actually. The gunplay is tight. It feels good. It's got one of the best, one of the most accurate shooting mechanics in a long time. Probably up there with Destiny and its shooting style and its mechanics and how the guns feel. I would have maybe liked to see more guns. I felt it kind of got a bit repetitive. They weren't quite as imaginative as I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit more. But the heavy weapons you pick up from the robots and stuff are really cool. It's like there's a laser that melts people. There's like a flat cannon that kills everything. There's a flamethrower. A flamethrower that kills people instantly. That's really good. And when you do kills like headshots or flames or burning or whatever, you then earn perks on that side of things as well. So there's a way and means to do it, and you can upgrade all your weapons. The worst thing about the gameplay for me is the level design. The level design is shocking. We're talking about 1980s tech of level design. In fact, it's just like playing Wolfenstein 3D in a maze. Like, the levels are so contrived to make you go through a certain area. There may be a very little bit of you can go up, down, left, or right, and that's about it. Like, they all lead to the exact same place very quickly. There's very little want or need. Well, in fact, you can't even explore. There is secrets to be found in secrets rooms, and you'll find health packs in them and armor and that sort of thing. But again, little reward there I found anyway. The missions, they'll purposely put a brick in the way so you can't go that way, or trolley, or car, or building, and there's only just ever one way to get the end of the mission, and ladders will be purposely there to make you drop your heavy weapon to go to the next fight, which is ridiculous. I hated that. Like, why do I need to go up there? Oh, there's a ladder. Well, would not just be a staircase? So it makes you drop your heavy weapons. So when you get to the top, you've then got to kill some people again, another heavy weapon, and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, level design for me just wasn't particularly great. I found the level design really dull. And I don't like the walls and forcing you into certain areas and not giving you a bit of freedom. I don't think I get a bit bored of open world games now. I'm kind of burnt out on them. But this is the complete opposite, where it just completely controls your every move almost. Apart from a train level where you could kind of go up, down. But either way, you went down for a little bit, then went in the carriage and stuff like that. So gameplay was a bit meh. I suppose in parts the map really let down. If the gunplay and everything's so good that if it had good map design, good level design, it would have been a really good game. And I think that when they were making this game, they almost had a book called FPSs for Dummies and went, right, okay, so apparently we need turret section done. We need a corridor level design done. We need repetitive enemies done. We need this done. And it was kind of like they just ticked all the boxes. Like, for first-person shooter, it's got everything that you'd expect in a first-person shooter. But that's a problem. There was nothing that I wasn't expecting. There wasn't anything in this game that made me go, wow, that was awesome. Or a massive set piece that was unbelievably cool. And there was no vistas or anything to look at. Like, there wasn't once where I stopped and looked at something and thought, wow, that looks incredible. Like I did on Infinite Warfare just a few weeks ago, or say on Horizon Zero Dawn, or just anything like that. Like there was nothing that made me go, wow. Or Bioshock, Bioshock, really good first-person shooter. There's a bit in the American town at the beginning where people are like, oh, it's like Bioshock when you walk and you see Rapture. No, it's not. You walk along the street and go into a building. That was it. I was expecting a lot more from that scene, but yeah, there's just nothing that that goes out. The character is also, for the beginning part of it, way too serious. Like he's like, oh my god, I can't survive. He needs to grow up. He's there to shoot zombies. I know he survived a nuclear blast in the other one, but I was a little bit disappointed with how whingy BJ was through it. Once his friend sort of gets killed at the very beginning, and I was a bit like, oh come on, man, get with it. Jesus, just kill some Nazis. But then about halfway through, it does turn into that where he stops whinging and just gets on with killing the zombies, and the game gets a lot better. You then get like a superpower almost, where you can get like stilt legs, or you can get like run through walls, or made it go really small. But then the only problem is after that, the game turns into designed to fit one of them powers. Like, each bit can be accompanied with the strength or the stilt or the small thing, and it was just there to promote that. Like, they just needed a new game mechanic because they didn't have one. They put one in and then designed the rest of the game around inputting that in certain parts. Again, it was, for me, bad level design. So overall in this game, because we're approaching the 15-minute marks, it's good. It's a good game. It's an enjoyable first-person shooter. I'm really confused to see where it's getting all these 9s and 8s from on gameplay. It's not a great game. It's not that good. It's a good game. It's all right. It's enjoyable. I completed it, which just shows that it wasn't bad, because I never complete games. But would I go out and buy it? If I'd spent £40 on this, I probably would have been very disappointed. I got it from Boomerang Games, as always. And for, like me monthly subscription free, I had a lot of fun. I wouldn't rush out and go and get this one, to be fair. If you like your first person shooters and you haven't played one for a while and you're kind of looking for something to pick up, it's probably worth a sale buy. Check it out when it's 20-25 quid and you'll have a lot of fun out of it. For me though, it's just alright. It's good. It's just run of the mill. I'm never going to play it again. Probably never going to think about it again after this review. And it's just one of them games. It's just never going to live long in the memory, and I probably wouldn't sit there and recommend it to a friend, really. But if you want to blast some Nazis in the face for a couple of hours and have some fun, you can't go too far wrong. So yes, I'll catch you there. I hope you've enjoyed the review. Any comments, leave them below as always, and I'll catch you there. Goodbye.